Wrestling Sheet Radio. I'm your host, ProWrestlingSheet.com editor-in-chief, Ryan Satin. I'm here with my co-host, Jamie Iovine.
Hey, everybody.
And Elijah Bates.
Hello!
It's nice to have us all back here. For those of you who maybe didn't see the Smackdown recap this week, you know, we got a little bit of a different taste of Elijah and I's discussion. It was
nice.
It was nice, yeah. It was
nice. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, because Rocco was out of the office. He was at the doctor's office, getting some work done. So does that sound weird when I say it that way?
Yeah, he's like getting a nose job.
Well, he got like some kind of surgery, but it wasn't like major surgery.
Job,
I think he had to get something cut, or I don't know.
Usually, when you say
get some work done, does sound like plastic surgery.
Yes.
But he was out of the office, so Eli stepped in. So for those of you who maybe are weekly Wrestling Sheet Radio viewers or listeners, go check that out as well. I think you guys will like it. Eli and I broke down this week's episode of Smackdown Live, had some good opinions on there. Jamie, you've already given up on the headphones?
Man,
you were going to do it.
You didn't.
That was so quick. Man. You were like, oh, try something new.
My temples started hurting.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is used to high-quality headphones.
That is true.
He's had a life of high-quality headphones, so I get it. All right, well, guys, a lot of stuff went down this week in wrestling.
Did it?
Well,
did it, Ryan?
Like what?
A mild amount of things happened in wrestling this week. I might be exaggerating a little bit to try and sound good.
I would say more like a hot amount.
For recording purposes.
Hot amount. Because mild, you know, if you're using like the Taco Bell sauce, you know, barometer, mild's pretty weak. Maybe like a hot, but not fire.
No, mild. I mean, it was kind of. There was only one or two like really big things that happened in this. Not even like really big.
Nothing was like Del Scorcho.
Yeah. Oh, there was definitely no Scorcho news. Definitely not. But I think the biggest story of the week, and we did a video previously on the YouTube channel already on this with myself and Rocco. But I want to hear your guys' opinions as well. And I want to hear what you guys think about WWE announcing Crown Jewel. First off, there's other things I want to talk related to Crown Jewel, but. What do you think about WWE so quickly announcing they're going back to Saudi Arabia? And so quickly after Evolution.
Why? Really? Are you asking me really why do I think?
Or what do you think?
Or what? I thought you said why. I was like,
no, I said, what do you...
I was like, you know why.
The all-ID all
I know what you guys think about it, but they maybe don't. So what do you guys think about
it?
I mean, obviously I know they have a 10-year deal. I know that it's clearly something they made a ton of money about it.
I get it that they have to announce these things, but it feels kind of like the same level as like, you know, Marvel is like, hey, we've got Captain Marvel coming out after Infinity War, and it's like, well, you can't really tell me anything about it because you can't unfold what the storylines are going to be on the two events that take place prior to that being Evolution and Super Showdown. So it's kind of like I get why they're announcing it, but it feels a little hollow to me just because you can't really announce anything of substance. You can be like, there's going to be title matches, and it's like, yeah. Well, what event doesn't have those?
Well, to me, the whole. I mean, obviously, I mean, if the last one had delivered, I mean, the production was second to none on the Greatest Royal Rumble, bar none, no question. But the matches didn't deliver. There weren't really that many good ones.
It's a giant house show.
It was a really big house show. And
you didn't like the actual Greatest Royal Rumble?
I prefer the actual one.
You don't believe it was truly the Greatest Royal Rumble? You think the regular Royal Rumble was greater?
In terms of volume. There were a lot of people in that.
Well, I mean, the Greatest Royal Rumble was in 1992, so calling another event that is a little bit false. But
yeah, and it's just, it's more content. It's more. I mean, and you know what? I mean, I'm gonna watch it because I always enjoy watching wrestling at weird periods of time during the day. And that's because I like to kind of put myself.
Is this on at a weird time?
Yeah. Well, it's airing live again
in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Well, Super Showdown is airing. They're both airing live.
Yeah, I was referring to Super. Yeah, well, then the other one is Saudi Arabia. Yeah, but
I forgot what time Greatest Royal Rumble was on.
Who knows? But
Greatest Royal Rumble, not the greatest time slot.
It was like 1 in the morning. It was 1 in the afternoon or something. But anyway, go back to my point. If I think there would be a lot more anticipation if the last card delivered, and it didn't. And and that's not to say that, this one won't. It's just that now we see what it is. And it's as you said, it's a glorified house show.
Yeah.
And the whole, in my opinion, the whole idea that they're out there trying to, not solely, but trying to inspire change. That whole narrative that they've instilled, I don't think it really applies anymore because we've seen them going to Saudi Arabia and it happened and then they left and then nothing really came of it.
Yeah. And additionally, you know, I think what really...
I mean, I'm not expecting them to do this whole social reform right after the event. No, of course not. I'm being realistic here.
Of course, no. But I think what really, to me, as you know, a loyal WWE viewer, you know, and this is kind of what I had mentioned in the video that we did, is that, you know, because WWE talks, like you said, because WWE talks about how they're, you know, they're a big proprietor of change and how they want to push change and how they want to be part of, you know, forward-thinking movements and stuff like that. It bothered me seeing that commercial that they put on the Greatest Royal Rumble last year where it talked about how great Saudi Arabia was and how, like, this was a great place to go.
Yeah, shit. It made me want to go there on a vacation. I mean, like, they really made it seem, like, nice.
Yeah, they and this is what I mentioned in the other video.
They've got some great theme parks there, by the way, too.
Yeah, and all the rich
Dubai.
people get to go.
Yeah.
But
I'll never.
But what I mentioned in the video as well is that, you know, we know that everything is not great in Saudi Arabia right now. You know, even though things are, you know, there are things changing. As I mentioned in the video, like I know I can mention it, but for those of you who did watch it, I don't want you to think that I am ignoring you, but I wanted to, you know, bring it up here as well. You know, there's this international news story going on right now where there's a woman who was peacefully protesting women's rights in Saudi Arabia, and now she's she's in jail, and they're seeking death penalty to where they behead her for a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
And you know, because of that, I believe that Saudi Arabia and Canada have kind of had a falling out over it because Canada spoke out against Saudi Arabia. So clearly there are still things going on in the country related to, you know, bad things happening in the country right now. It's not this good place that's going on. So to me, when I see them making $40 million to put on these events and say such positive things about Saudi Arabia, it does look like there is not necessarily the motive for change there. It's more money related.
And to be honest with you, I wouldn't think any less of the company if they flat out just said, yeah, we're getting a shit ton of money to go do this now.
Well, they did tell investors that when they had the recent investor call. That's how people know how much finally they made.
Yeah,
but that's estimated they made around $40 million.
But the narrative that they're putting out.
Totally.
I mean, not the conference.
No, I get what you're saying. It's kind of like when you follow someone on social media and you get mad when they don't say sponsored post in one of their things.
It's like, you know, let's be real here.
Do you...
And like I said, it's a wrestling show. We're not. I said this when we talked about the Greatest Royal Rumble when it was coming up. I am not relying on a wrestling show to cause social change. I'm just not, and I don't think anybody should. But the fact of the matter is that let's call a spade a spade.
Totally, yeah. You can't ever take a two. Like if you're gonna say you're one thing, but then you're doing another, and it puts across. It makes your company look bad.
And I mean, this I don't know if you were kind of transition into this, and I hate to bring the attention away from it, but it kind of goes hand in hand. There's so much talk about the Crown Jewel event, which isn't even, which is like in 2 months or something, right? Or
Crown Jewel's next month, I think.
Next month, yeah.
And what you're going into is 100% where I was going to transition into.
Yes, and that there's all this talk about that, and then there's all this talk about Super Showdown, and the whole. Maybe I haven't been paying close enough attention, but to me, it seems like Evolution talk has dropped off completely.
Actually, sorry. Yes, I agree with you. But to correct myself, November is when the Crown Jewel is. Yeah, you're right. But yes, I agree with you that it does already seem like Evolution has become an afterthought.
Here's this is a huge problem. They're diluting the importance of any of these events. How many events are they talking about actively right now? 3 different events.
Yes.
You've got Super Showdown, which they've actively got matches plotted for. You've got Evolution, matches actively plotted out for. You've got another event in November. Is there another event in November beyond Crown Jewel? Because isn't there typically like the standard 12 WWE pay-per-views?
Yeah, Survivor Series.
Survivor Series is also in November. It's like at a certain point, like, how many of these special events can you have? And also, like,
it's to help you out here. It's October 6th is Super Showdown. October 28th.
I'm actually looking forward to Super Showdown, to be honest with you. It seems like the continuity of these super events are going to be in their own universe, kind of, whereas everything else is going to be standard WWE universe.
I agree with you. I'm also looking forward to Super Showdown so far. Then it's Evolution is October 28th. 5 days later is Crown Jewel. And then
That's like what they did with WrestleMania, where like Greatest Royal Rumble popped up right after WrestleMania. It's like, hey, we're burnt out.
And
we just
then-
sat through a 16-hour WrestleMania.
And then 2 weeks or so later, November 18th, is Survivor Series at Staples. And then we've got a month after that until another pay-per-view.
Can we
TLC.
go to that? Can we go to
We
Survivor
gotta go to
Series?
that. Oh, yeah, we're going to. We got to, yeah.
Okay.
It's
Overload though.
It really
it
is, and it was-
freaking overload. Like I get a lot of crap for this on Twitter. You know, I get a lot of crap for this on Twitter because I'll say like, oh, it's like too much, and people are like, well, that's good for you. Like, you know, more wrestling. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But as like the fan in me, when I'm watching, like you get burnt out watching that.
Hey.
Like I was at Bola this weekend, and I'm sure it probably affected my covering of things this week because I was
Yeah.
at Bola all weekend. Then I had to go home, and when I got home at, you know, whatever it was, like 11, then I watched, once Erica went to bed at 11, I watched most of Hell in a Cell. Woke up, watched the rest of it at work. Then had to, you know, and then it's like Raw, then it's Smackdown, then
I'm
it's
sorry, but if
205 Live,
there's
NXT,
too much things,
and Mae Young Classic,
if there's
it's like so much.
If there's too many things to cover, like I understand where they're coming from.
And then people are mad I don't know who Puma King is when I'm like, I barely have time to watch all the wrestling in WWE a week.
Think about it like this. If a sommelier drinks too much wine, they can't do their job. You know, to the same extent, if you're a wrestling reporter and there's too much wrestling out there, how the hell could you ever do your job? You can't.
Yeah, that's honestly why I'm working. I mean, it's partly, you know, besides the fact that I want to staff up, but it's one of the reasons I need to staff. I'm working on staffing up
Yeah.
ASAP is because I can't cover every single wrestling event.
The thing that that bothers me a lot. I mean, there's a few things that bother me about these. Is like, you know, I grew up in the era like, you know, before you guys were fans, I was in like the 4 pay-per-views a year era before King of the Ring. You know, you had 4, and that was
My day.
that was fine. You know, but and I understand why things changed. They evolved. You know, no pun intended. But like, I don't like these big events coming up because what they end up doing is they play it just for the crowd. And it was something that I talked about yesterday where it's just like, you know, like certain things, like they might be big for the crowd, but they don't do it for the viewer at home anymore. I'll give you an example. I guarantee you at Crown Jewel, they're going to be like, oh, but Samoa Joe and AJ Styles are having a rematch. It's an Abu Dhabi desert match or something like that, where it's just going to be a street fight. But they've given it a new name, and I'm sorry, but just like they're going to throw out some cheap gimmicks for these events because the people consuming it there haven't been active live consumers of the product, you know, in terms of in person, and then all of a sudden at home, you know, the spectacle and the grandeur of the visual of the stadium and all that stuff and the production values, like Jamie said, are going to be what wows you. But is there something that really enthralls you to stick around for 4 hours when it's the same stipulations, when it is a glorified house show? When you read house show results all the time, like when they go to Madison Square Garden or something like that, it's like Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles in a cage match or
Ends in
something
a
like
disqualification.
that. And it's just like there's no lasting meaning to the event outside of the fact that it happened and they made $40 million off of it.
That is kind of why I laughed when I saw they had in the press release announcing the event. They said that they're having something at Crown Jewel called the World Cup, where they're gonna crown like the best wrestler in the world or something like that.
Okay, that's not the champion. That's not the WWE champion or the Universal champion. Isn't that what that belt is all about?
That's
The
what I
title's
thought
all
it meant.
about.
Yeah, I was kind of confused by that myself. Wait, let me make sure I have the wording right, but I'm pretty sure that was what the
You know
wording
what?
was.
Like I just it bums me out that these pay-per-views have been so diluted. This weekend I was so looking forward to watching Hell in the Cell, and I enjoyed watching it. But like
It was actually I was surprised.
I
Hell in
was-
a Cell
I
was
was
fun.
too.
WWE World Cup, which will determine the best in the world.
oh man.
But do you also agree that Hell in a Cell surprised you? It was entertaining.
Yes, it did. I think that, you know, the final ending left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Just the no contest the no contest part of it. I loved the kick in the door. I loved him putting the door down, walking up it.
That's fine.
Jamie, for a second, did you really think that Randy Orton was going to tear Jeff Hardy's ear off?
Yes.
I did too.
Yeah, I did.
I really did.
I was
It was
texting you
intense.
guys. I was texting you guys. There was literally never in my entire life been a time where I've literally wanted to look away from a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, I mean, except for, you know, Botch City, but, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy how that spot looked more intense than Jeff Hardy falling from the top of the cage through a table.
It's because you were really just sitting there thinking, how many times can he turn that until it rips?
I thought in my head,
that's what I like. I literally was thinking that. I was like, I don't know anatomy, but I mean, you twist a rubber band over and over and over again. Eventually, it snaps.
Yeah.
And like I don't know how.
What if somebody
ears work?
If somebody thumped his ear, that thing would have popped like whenever you do it with like a straw at McDonald's or something.
And I don't
like
like talking about it, but it really got me. Like Randy, like when he said, "I'm gonna make you squirm," he got me.
Yeah.
I squirmed. I literally went like this a few times. I literally looked down away from the TV.
I thought in my head,
few
I can't
times.
believe Jeff Hardy agreed to like lose his ear.
Like,
I literally thought that.
I literally thought we were gonna see a lobe split on live television.
Wow.
And how horrifying would that have been?
That would have definitely been horrifying. So at the end of the day with this Crown Jewel stuff, yes, I agree. Overload, absolute overload of pay-per-view
but
events.
at the end of the day, if all three of us were under that umbrella of the WWE Enterprises, of course they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Of course.
I get
if
why.
we I was in charge,
if we all worked at the WWE or we made money from these shows,
we would think what?
then of course we're doing them.
But I would think I would still have an issue. I mean, there are people in the company who aren't pumped about it. For sure.
I'm not talking about wrestlers. I'm talking about execs.
Yeah, I'm talking, well, not execs. You mean if I was running the company, would I do it? I mean, I get how much money you're making, but at the same time, like, WWE is already making a lot of money. They just made that huge deal with Fox. I would say, do they need the money? Yes, of course. Of course they do.
You have to think about it.
That's thinking about the bottom line.
Think about
but
it like,
at the same time, like, I just look at it as like, what's more important? Like, you know what? Like on my website, I could make more money if I threw porn ads on the website, but I don't do that because it doesn't make my company look good at the end of the day. You know, like there are times I've changed the advertising on my website where I was like, no, I don't want that, and I've changed companies altogether. I bitched at the same time, like, get that off my website multiple times. Didn't work, and I switched companies because I didn't want people to be at work looking at chicks' asses in the advertisements. And so, like, yes, I get it, but sometimes as someone who runs a business, you have to think of what's at the bottom line. Like, what's more important, the way your company looks or the bottom line?
I get that too. The difference, the big difference
is
in
$40 million.
$40 million. That's like, hey, that takes care of all the wrestlers' salaries for the year, pretty much.
Yeah,
and it gives us enough money to bring Shawn Michaels back.
And I guess I just don't look for wrestling to be the social conscience.
Well, and
of the
I don't
world.
either. And this is what I said in the video that we did the other day. If they weren't a company that acted as though that was part of their company, then I don't care if TNA did this, or Impact, if ROH. Honestly, I probably wouldn't think of it the same way because none of those companies position themselves as a company for chicks. None of them have, Connor's Cure Kids that are coming out on Raw. None of them are doing these commercials where they're like, WWE, we're all about change. Like they do those things. I see them every day because I cover it every day, and so. If WWE didn't position themselves that way, I wouldn't take issue with it. If there's been the attitude, I'd be like, well, it's wrestling, same for all these other companies. But the fact that it's not, that the fact that is their MO, the company, at least that's how they make it sound, then no, like you are open to, I think, criticism against it when you do something like this.
Yeah. I mean, we've always known in terms of WWE, WWE likes to send philanthropic texts before reading them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they like to say, here's the Be a Star campaign. Oh, but one of our top talents holds his penis and then shakes writers' hands. But it's like it's
or worse. We just made this historic. More recently than that, we just made this historic decision. WWE says we're making history. Woman is allowed to be, is not allowed. A woman is going to be the announcer going forward, part of the announce desk on Raw, part of the Raw commentary team. Except for in a month when we go to Saudi Arabia and she's not allowed to be there. Like that to me is so like.
Is she completely
it's within the same month of them announcing Evolution.
I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not sure.
It was within the month that they announced Evolution. Was it not?
Yeah. Well, it was close to. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I mean, sounds about right.
It's
it was very close to.
You have very good points. And I agree with a lot of them. And I've just, I guess maybe a part of me has kind of just given up on them to do something that is just, without any sort of asterisk next to it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, okay, they're trying, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
It's like
it's kind of like me with social media, where like I'm trying to get better, but sometimes I just don't know how, and I can't help myself.
Yeah, like they can't help themselves. It's like, okay, we're gonna make this whole thing about, and I know, yes, and this is not a knock against Alexa Bliss. Please don't think it is. I think she's great. I think Nia Jax is great. the whole thing when it mixes the narrative when you do this whole anti-bullying thing, and then you do the Alexa Bliss segments, which I'm sorry, they were great. They were great. I thought they were funny, but you're mixing the narrative when you say don't be a bully, but then Alexa Bliss is saying like that whole thing is not to be taken seriously, like it's a joke. You know, like making light of those actual bullying videos where people are saying like I was pushed in a locker and stuff like that, because that's what those were.
Yeah,
that's what those segments were. Is making fun of those actual confidential videos of people like saying, "Yeah, I had a horrible time in school," and it's one of those cases. Like I remember when I saw the Alexa Bliss thing, I was like, "Yeah, she's great, and yeah, she's entertaining as all hell." It's just that it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because you're standing here saying like this is an issue that you should never take lightly whatsoever. People die from bullying, and I'm not trying to put that on Bliss. I'm not. That's not the case at all. And you really send out two different messages.
Mixed messages, yeah.
Yes, and I've just come to expect that from them. You know, they are really good at, you know, they kick off with a bang. They're great at starting a party. But keeping the party going is not always their best form.
No. Yeah, no, that I completely agree with you on. Now, lastly on this topic, I want to talk about what seems to be the impending return of Shawn Michaels. I mean, right? There's no way he's not wrestling at Crown Jewel, right? He's 100% coming back Crown Jewel right now. This is all speculation on my end right now. I'm still obviously something I'm looking into. But I mean, like, come on, you just got to connect the dots. I mean, why else would they have him be in Triple H's corner and Kane in Undertaker's corner, especially with this $100,000 thing that we'll talk about later in the show with Kane. He's clearly they're wrestling a match here. How do you feel about it?
I'm all right with it.
It'll be fine. It won't be a fucking barn burner, but it'll be fine.
I have complete faith that Shawn Michaels can go right now like he could when he retired.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. There's one person who can't go like he used to in that ring, and that's The Undertaker.
I've got to say Kane, too.
Kane could still go decent.
Yeah.
Kane could still decent.
You have a soft spot for Kane, though.
You do.
Because I still say to this day, the buildup of Kane's debut is one of the greatest buildups in wrestling history.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I still say to this day.
But that doesn't mean he still can go.
He could go better than The Undertaker. Admit that.
I think that.
What do you think about that statement?
I think he could go better than The Undertaker.
That's a hell of a statement. And I
don't,
No. Let me explain why it's a hell of a statement. Because at their prime, Undertaker could go way harder than Kane, really, when it came down to it. So so who can go harder for me is like kind of a ratioed out thing of like how high were they ever and where are they at right now. I think Kane.
I like your technical way of looking at this.
No, but I think Kane is closer to the level that he attained, whereas Undertaker was way higher than Kane, but has fallen way further than Kane in terms of their ability.
So then, final end of the day, answer.
I plead the fifth.
I've seen it in person, and I've seen it on TV time and time again. The past 3 matches that The Undertaker's had, and it's just a lot of people they carry him throughout the entire thing.
Sure.
I think it's more so for me, not so much who can go, but who I'd rather watch go. And I just feel like I've hit my limit of matches I want to watch Kane in. And Undertaker at least has been gone for long enough where like I'm not stoked on it, but
the only reason why I'm bringing up being the ability to be able to still put on like 5-star matches is only to say
Wait. You think Kane still has the ability to put on 5-star matches?
No, I didn't say that. No,
okay,
I'm saying in terms of working. I'm saying like hypothetically, like say they were able to. I'm saying that's not what will be looked at in this match. Like wrestling technique. That's not what's going to be looked for.
True. Yeah,
it's going to be a lot of spots. It's going to be a lot of
hitting the classic.
It's going to be a gimmick heavy, moment heavy match. Not
I guarantee you
it's going to be like Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania.
And I guarantee you the first blow slam doesn't happen first 5 minutes of the match. I guarantee it. They're going to waste a lot of time.
Why I don't want to see this match. I just feel like I hate the General Sports Authority guy, the guy who's in charge of the bit, Mohammed bin Salman, I think is his name. But I hate that guy, and he's not the General Sports Authority guy. He's Anyways, I hate that guy was a fan of the Attitude Era because he's. I was talking to Roku about this, I believe, but it just feels like to me. If Shawn Michaels comes back here, which is clearly coming back here, and I get it, dude. It's money. Money being offered to you and your family. It's probably a lot of money being offered to him and his family. I get it. Whatever.
It's more he's probably making it at the Performance Center.
Totally. But I feel like this is only going to lead to Austin coming back. He
has been the only one.
It
was
look at
him
Eli's
and
face
Sean.
because he hadn't thought about it, but you know it, right? We're going to get Austin versus The Rock at one of these Saudi events.
Oh my God!
You know we're going to.
I got to be honest though, all this distaste for older guys returning, all that stuff, it goes out the window when you announce Stone Cold Steve Austin's coming back.
Oh, I'll be honest with you. If they said Stone Cold Steve Austin was coming back, I would mark the fuck out.
Hey, you know what though? It is a very interesting.
Would you actually book a flight to Saudi Arabia if you found that out?
Not to Saudi Arabia. Australia, yes.
No, Saudi Arabia. It's gonna be in Saudi Arabia. What is it? Jeddah, the great city of the great.
Isn't Jeddah from Rogue One?
There
is the Jedi city, isn't it? Well, isn't it the same thing?
Well, it may be. Maybe
yeah,
the same
Jeddah,
place.
Saudi Arabia.
What?
Yeah, I had it right. Yeah,
maybe it's the same place.
They need to frickin' book Forrest Whitaker to come there.
Steve. The other match that I was telling Roka that I think I'm wondering if they somehow build towards for the next one is
God. I'm preparing for my mind to be blown. Right
the Shield versus NWO.
But
and what if Hulk? That's why Hulk.
But two of the three of them can't bump.
Here's my crazy conspiracy theory.
But they can't move.
Hulk said he was making a ginormous history-making announcement on October 20th, and then he was like, "I'm doing a stupid reunion show at a place nobody cares about that nobody can watch." What if he said that as like a red herring? The actual announcement is happening that day, where he says NWO is coming back the next time WWE goes to Saudi Arabia.
I just don't understand how they can do it. They physically can't move.
Well, Hulk got that surgery. Isn't Hulk like
Scott can't move.
Scott can move. They gave him $1 million to.
No.
And Kevin Nash can.
Well, it's also, would they be physically allowed to?
For enough money, they would be.
I don't see that happening. Not at all.
I never even thought of that.
I don't see that.
Stone Cold is coming back
because
that more
everyone's
so.
gonna take that right.
You know what?
Say that.
You know what?
In my
did you see
mind-
my face by the way when you said that?
Lit up. It was great.
You need to make sure you do a clip of that later on where I'm like. No, but
I see that happening way more than Shield and NWO. I don't see that.
Back
happening.
to Shawn Michaels, potentially returning. Like we talked about this. I'm okay with it. I'm 100% okay with it at this point because I feel like he has legitimately retired.
Yeah, it's just like when we talked about it before, it was more like Shawn Michaels just kind of like saying it very like broadly.
He's not coming back for like Backlash or something.
Yeah, like when
that.
Ricky Steamboat came back for that short period of time, he was retired still.
Yeah, no, and I think that's okay. Like I think I think people will accept his retirement as legit, and I think
because he's not on the road.
Exactly, and I don't, and he's not coming back for 100 matches. I would assume he's going to come back for a handful of matches.
Probably
and
just that one.
Maybe just one.
Probably just the one.
I'd probably say just the one.
I
I
guarantee you, if Shawn Michaels comes back for one, what's to stop him from coming back from another one too? Let's say that they keep doing these events. So let's say he comes back at Crown Jewel or whatever it's called.
Because when he originally came back, when he came back out of that long hiatus, wasn't it not supposed to be?
It was just supposed to be that one match,
yeah,
versus Hunter, and so the thing is that Shawn Michaels has stayed in shape. Like when you see Shawn Michaels, you're like, that dude his body looks the same.
And he's trained at the Performance Center every week.
It was like 3 years ago, but still, I mean, like when him and Austin and Mick did that run, and he looked like he always did.
He looked great. And the thing is that I feel, I feel like he can come back. And what this is the Pandora's box effect, though. They're going to open it up and they're going to let Shawn Michaels come back in a tag team match, and then they're going to be like, well, now Shawn Michaels has to come back at the next Saudi Arabian event for a one-on-one match. But then they're going to be like, why the hell won't we have Shawn Michaels come back for WrestleMania? Mr. WrestleMania returns 10 years after he was retired or something like that.
That's exactly how I look at it.
I there's no...
it's like opening the floodgate. It's like opening a floodgate.
Again, I'm not saying that I do think that Shawn Michaels has held true to his word of retirement. He's moved on in a lot of ways from wrestling, but... He's
a wrestling trainer.
Well, yes, but he's not. But the thing is that if Shawn Michaels can make $3 million off of 3 matches,
and all the $6 he made off of the Marine 5,
or what was that hunting show that he had? Like, I mean, I'm sure that he's making 10 times more for like this one event that he's going to tag team with Hunter.
Probably making so much money for this,
and so like now that you've said it, now I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna bring back Steve Austin.
They are. It's the only thing in my mind that makes sense. Like CM Punk doesn't make sense, but Steve Austin clearly, from what the reports were last time. Like I think it was there was that he like wanted Yokozuna, even though Yokozuna's dead. Like
and the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So like,
what if he was like, bring back King Kong Bundy?
And the reason I say NWO is because he definitely wanted Hulk Hogan. Because if you listen to the Hulk Hogan interviews that he has done, the recent one where he was on the after chat, he alluded to the fact that he first came back in contact with WWE again around the time of Greatest Royal Rumble last year, but was like, they were like, we have to do this right first.
But they won't have a match, Ryan. You're crazy.
All right, what about a showdown between the NWO and the Shield?
Okay, that's fine, but not a match. They won't have a match.
I could see it.
No.
I don't know. Against the Shield, that's a tough one. I could see like them being like the Shield and it teams up with the NWO and a 6-on-6
with a bunch of 60-year-old men.
Like, I mean, I'm not, but no, but you
Shield and the NWO versus like the club
or something.
Now you're just I'm just
playing
versus
NWO
DX
on my phone
and
or my
club.
computer. All right, well, another big story this week was Alexa being injured. Super bummer. I mean,
I didn't read the extent.
Well. See,
tell me about this. I actually wasn't aware of this.
That's the thing that's a little odd about this one is...
Doesn't say when, doesn't say how long.
Doesn't say when, doesn't say how long. It appears as though it happened at the pay-per-view. It just says her arm. I was looking into it.
Which works
I know that
along storyline.
From what I've heard, she is injured. I'm still working to try and find out exactly what the additional details are. The extent of the injury. But there's like this weird vibe around it, like if she were out for an extended period of time, that would be a big blow, I think, to the Raw roster. Don't you guys think?
No.
I'll
be honest with you. I'm a little burnt out on Alexa right now.
Interesting.
I'm really burnt out on Alexa. I've been really burnt out on Alexa for a period of time.
Are you one of those people who's not a big fan of Alexa?
I am not.
I feel like you're either like a big fan or not at all.
I'm a little bit indifferent. I think she has come a long way. I think she has a long way to go still. She's made the most out of her opportunities and everything like that, and they've used her well. But I just have gotten to the point where I feel like she's just been used a lot to the point where it's like it's probably good for her to have a little bit of a breather so that people can briefly forget about her and remember her en masse when she comes back.
I side and don't side with that at the same time. I side with the fact that when I saw Alexa cash in at Money in the Bank and then become the champion again, I was like, oh, we're here again.
Yeah.
Like we've done this before, and not that long before that, And I am an Alexa Bliss fan. I think Alexa is great, and I like what she does in the ring. I like that she's able to, because it is really hard to look like you can win a match when you are 5 feet on your tippy toes.
Yeah.
It's and she has been able to do that because she's not just one of the shorter women. She's probably the shortest woman that's ever been on the roster. No, I'd say.
Yeah, she's very short.
And able to put on entertaining matches with somebody like Nia Jax, I think there's testament to that.
Well, even this weekend in Hell in a Cell, I mean, she believably wrestled Ronda Rousey for longer
Yeah,
than
that
a few
was one of the
minutes.
best. I think that was Ronda's best match to date.
Me too.
No question.
Well, I think it's because it was the first time we got to see her really selling.
Yeah,
for the
and
first time.
she crushed it. And you know what? It's another testament to Alexa Bliss making a rookie look that good. Yeah. But again, with the whole title picture, I would have liked to have seen her do something else. I need her away from the title, chasing it.
I just feel like I think some of my disinterest comes because she was I don't mean dominant on the level of win centric, but dominating TV time because she's a good heel. She's a really good heel, and she's
the best.
And if you look at the other heels that they have that are developed characters, there's not a ton of them on there that they, you could look back at like Charlotte and a couple others who have been heels who aren't necessarily clearly defined heels. Alexa Bliss is heel through and through.
Yes.
Outside of Carmella, there's not really somebody that's that level of solid heel from beginning to end like her.
Well, and even Carmella's turning face now with R-Truth.
Yeah, but when Alexa Bliss gets, because sometimes she gets cheered when she comes out, she turns that shit around in 2 seconds. She was like, "Nope, you're not doing that."
So then it feels like you both do feel like it would be a blow to the roster a little bit.
Right now she
is really the only top heel.
You're misinterpreting my point. I think that it would be a benefit for the roster for them to develop some other characters outside of
I see
Alexa.
what you're saying. Okay,
Like,
I see what you're
that's
saying.
why I'm
Her
saying.
being in that position has stopped the develop. I mean, I'm not saying directly.
No, 'cause they
but
give her
we
TV time. Like,
but we don't
it's-
get. For instance, what the fuck has Ember Moon been doing for the past few months? What is
like,
Asuka? I mean, she's
I
on
would
SmackDown.
say,
never
I would
mind.
say, if you looked at like if outside of maybe like 5 women on
by
the
the way,
roster.
I let Eli rant about Asuka on the SmackDown recap show because
then we'll leave that alone.
We know how unhappy
No, but
he
like
is about it.
there are like 5 developed female characters that have kind of like substance to their characters right now. If you look at somebody like let's say Tamina Snuka or somebody like that, in the entirety of her career in WWE, how much character development has she really
She
got?
wears a leather jacket.
It's like she had a standoff with Nia Jax. To some extent, even Nia Jax hasn't really had true character development in a long time.
She was
They've
heading
just
in
been-
the right direction, but then they kind of switched gears when people started cheering her.
And so it's just like I don't know. Like I think it's a good opportunity for other people for her to be gone, and I don't think it's going to hurt her to be gone right now.
No,
I think,
she'll come back stronger than
she'll
ever.
come back stronger, and people will be stoked to see her again. Like it's really a benefit to the roster for her to take some time away from it.
And I feel like she'll get that if she's gone for a long time. If she's not, it won't. She won't. But if she is gone for a long time, it'd be nice to see her get that giant pop when she returns and turn it around on everyone like she's so
It
good
will,
at doing.
and it's she's an undeniable talent, probably one of the best in the current generation out right now, no question. But it's just the role that she's played. We've seen her in it for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Also, her fucking stands. Oh, sorry, Dad. My dad told me I've been cussing too much on these shows, so
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Dad.
Ryan's dad, if you notice, I never swear on the show.
I know. That's why he gets mad at me. He's like, "Oh yeah, the other co-hosts don't have a problem not cussing." All her stands were very annoying on social media today. I like off. Okay, first of all, these ratings in WWE 2K, I never pay attention to. I don't care.
They
about them.
actually matter. Like
They
they
don't
affect gameplay.
They don't matter in the slightest
In the
bit.
least.
In the least.
Why?
freaking
Wait, so
bit.
people were pissed off about
And
it?
Yes.
I just laughed because they've been making such a big deal about it, like about all the ratings, and everyone's tripping on their ratings and their ratings.
Who cares?
But it made me laugh when I saw that like everyone's like taking these ratings so seriously, and Alexa Bliss is rated 2 points lower than The Undertaker, and that was when I was like, these just do not fucking matter.
And
you
like
know?
people were freaking that Ronda Rousey was like 10 points higher than all the rest of them. She would be. That's an accurate representation.
Yeah.
So I tweeted the comparison of the pictures, and I said Alexa Bliss is only rated 2 points lower than The Undertaker in WWE 2K19. Saw this factoid on Reddit, and it made me laugh. You'd be shocked at how many mean replies I got to that. Like, look at this grown man crying about the rating in a video game, or like, look at this dork. Like,
I don't know why they
fuck
put
this
it in the
dork.
first
Why would
place.
you even? Why would you even tweet about this in the first? Oh, fuck, what's wrong with you? And I was just like, whoa, like, guys, like,
I don't know why they're in the game in the first place. To be honest with you, I don't like. I understand it with like an NBA 2K or Madden, but it's a wrestling video game. I don't understand. Like, I don't see.
Oh my
I
God.
don't see fucking Ryu or Scorpion having like numbered ratings or anything.
Says, oh my God, Ronda is at 87 and Roddy Piper is at 86. Let's all be outraged about video game ratings. And I was like, well, okay, I didn't say anything about that. There were some angry people on here, especially since I laugh because I always get that thing that changes it, and I just change it if like someone is too rated to
I
the
don't. I
accelerator
literally
thing.
don't pay attention to any of
The
it.
only time I ever pay attention to it is when I'm playing James McKenna online or in person because he gets all mad about like me picking my creator wrestlers because they're usually rated high.
Overpowered, yeah.
And he's like, no, you got equal rated people and blah blah blah. So that's like the only time, and that's not a good impression of
But,
James.
yeah,
I don't think you sound like that, James. Just when you're
Wow,
getting mad.
James.
Just when you're
you believe
getting
this guy?
mad about who I'm picking in 2K when we play
But
against
yes,
each other.
and everybody listening, calm the fuck down. It's just a video game.
So another story this week was, and I mentioned it a little bit ago when we were talking about Crown Jewel, but that is WWE announcing that they're donating $100,000 to bunch of
Knox.
to a federation. I'm like talking about wrestling. It's a foundation in Knoxville that deals with public safety. So it's the Knoxville Public Safety Foundation, which this means the money will benefit the employees of the Knoxville Fire Department, the Knoxville Police Department, Knox County Sheriff's Office, and the University of Tennessee Police Department. Now,
Hey, it's a great way for the mayor to say, hey, I got to go pro wrestle for a little bit, and then now it's going to have money for the city.
Right?
It's a great campaign. I mean, it's a great politician tactic.
I thought the same thing because honestly, when Undertaker said, I'm going to have Kane in my corner, I thought to myself, like, are they really going to do Brothers Destruction versus DX when he's in office? And I know he had told Austin, who writes for the site, that he was open to the idea of wrestling for WWE, but I didn't think he like actually was open to
This
the
fast?
idea.
Right away?
Especially this quickly, I would assume there's things he had to do. But I gotta agree with you, Jamie, that if you're gonna do it, this was the smartest way to make it happen. $100,000 is a lot. It's a big donation. It's a nice donation. I mean, that's like what some people make, you know, in a year.
Like, how can you argue that? It's like, oh, he's gonna go wrestle, but because of that, the city is getting $100,000.
Yeah, because I'm sure there are anti-wrestling people in the town who already weren't stoked about having a mayor that was a professional wrestler, and now they're like, look at the wrestler's leaving us to go to Saudi Arabia, you know, and then
He's like, in my place is a cutout of me covered in money.
No, he's just gonna get Luke Gallows to come and just beat him for a little bit.
Get Brian Lee.
No, just put someone at the desk and have him do the voice box thing when they're answering the calls.
Yeah, that's what his answer machine sounds like.
I am Glenn Jacobs.
I just brought this up because of the voice box. Remember that whole rumor when Kane was gonna join DX and everybody thought he was gonna show up in a green outfit?
Yeah.
I'm so sad that never happened.
Christmas Kane.
It would have looked crazy.
Have you used that picture? You've seen the one where it's like photoshopped where it looks like he's the Green Kane?
Hey, it would have looked so stupid.
What?
It would have looked weird.
It
A
would
big
have been
green thing
dumb.
would have looked weird.
What?
It would have been.
You didn't like the tag team of Kane and X-Pac back then?
I
Not
liked
really.
it.
I loved Kane.
I
and
loved
X-Pac.
Kane
No,
and X-Pac.
I didn't like Kane and X-Pac that much. And I didn't really like Tori being affiliated with them either. I thought Tori was like a lackluster personality. Again, this is like Smark Bates of 2000 or 1999,
Yeah.
where I was just like, Tori sucks. They're bringing in Nicole Bass all of a sudden. There's like they're diluting DX.
You didn't like when he did the like suck it thing.
I thought that was
No,
great.
That
I mean,
was so cool.
I liked it in brief.
And I like the rationale behind that. That X-Pac was like, you don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
You got it in your heart. He's like, no, my vocal cords
That's
are
like
still
saying,
burnt.
like, hey, grow an extra arm. I know that arm.
You got it in you.
You got another arm in there. Like, no, that's not how the human body works.
And then Glenn Jacobs' attempted distorted voice. Shocker. Even as a kid, I thought that was funny.
I will set myself on fire.
Man, that's crazy. I always thought everyone thought the Green Kane would have been awesome.
Nah,
I wouldn't have liked they would have had to have figured it out because just neon DX green Kane looks strange to me. It looks like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. Christmas
Well,
Kane.
not neon, but like dark green. If he had been like dark green,
They would have had to change the form of the suit.
Yeah.
They would have had
It
to
couldn't-
change it.
yeah.
With the way it looked, but just switch out red with green, I don't think would have looked good.
Santa's favorite elf.
I'm trying to pull up what it looked like again so I can get a. Yeah, see, like you don't think that would have looked cool? Where it was like dark green
Show
like
me.
that?
Still,
Show
no.
me, boy.
No.
No, I would have. I mean, it's not like to say that the green wouldn't have worked. It's just that I would have changed the way the suit looked.
Because I agree, like this picture that I've seen online where it's like more neon. I've
He
always
looks
thought
like a
didn't look
lizard
cool.
man. I'm not into it.
He does.
He looks
my
like
God.
Mortis.
He
Yeah.
he looks like Luchasaurus kind of.
Yeah, he does
from
look like
Lucha
Luchasaurus.
Underground.
He looks like Mortis.
He does look like Mortis.
You know, I want to hear what you guys think. Honestly, I don't normally fish for people on here to tweet us back, but I actually want to know. For those of you who are listening, please tweet us. I would like to know if you were Team Green or
or just not.
or not Team Green. Yeah,
Or Kane proper.
Kane proper. Yeah, let me know if you're Team Green. I feel like more of you are going to be
You're not
Team
Team
Green.
Green.
Yeah, I feel
You're
like
not.
more people are going to be Team Green than you'd expect, Elijah.
I do not think so. Sorry.
Green Kane was
I
awesome.
didn't mean to be so aggressive about that.
No!
Would he be selling canned peas?
Yeah.
I don't like your guys' opinions about Green Kane.
Green Giant.
You're telling me nobody would have chanted
That's
that?
a great sponsorship opportunity. I can give you that. Eat your peas.
I'm gonna make
Some
Green
of our
Cane
listeners
in
are
my
like, "Who the hell is the Jolly Green Giant?"
I'm gonna make Green Cane on 2K when I get home now.
Won't be hard.
It won't be hard at all.
Green.
What do you guys think about 205 Live moving to Wednesdays? What do you guys think?
Didn't know about that till just now.
Wait, though. Question. No, I knew about it, but I wanted to ask because I haven't done any research
I
into
didn't
it.
know.
No, yeah, it was announced this past week. Are they? Wait, so how is it live still?
No. This week they taped it before Smackdown.
Was it ever live? It was never live.
It's called 205
Yeah,
Live.
that's why it's 205 Live. It was live. It was after. It was Smackdown. That's why it was after Smackdown.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is live on the.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right.
So, wait.
You're right.
I'm
still thinking that
and the worst
SmackDown
part
airs on Fridays.
is that they didn't tell people that they were going to tape before the show, so it was extremely empty. Now I'm not gonna lie.
I saw the picture of the arena.
Yeah, I haven't watched this week's episode yet, but I do plan on watching it because I was looking at the gifs of Cedric Alexander against Drew Gulak.
That suplex?
And it looked insane. I super want to see this match. Yeah, that suplex.
Why-
For those
why-
of you who didn't see it, I tweeted the picture or the gif of it, but like Cedric Alexander goes to suplex Drew Gulak out of the ring. And Drew
Lands
Gulak
on the apron.
lands on the ground.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He pulls him down with him, so Drew Gulak lands on his feet on the outside of the ring, and then Cedric Alexander comes over the top, lands on his feet, and then suplexes him again. So it's. I think I explained that right, but it's insane.
It's literally where everybody had to be exactly where they needed to be at that moment.
Wait.
There's so many moves like that lately where I see it, like Bandito. Bandito at PWG does this move now or he does it in general apparently, but he was doing it all weekend at Bola where
that springboard
flippy German suplex thing, which I got some shit for calling it a flippy German suplex thing, but I don't know how else to describe it.
What is it?
And
Wait, what's the name of it?
I don't
It's
know.
like rollover, tope, backspring, sunset flip, German suplex.
Yeah, that's why
Germacita.
I like
Sunset over Germany.
Yeah.
Boom. Coined it.
But yeah, I do think putting it on Wednesday nights does give it a higher chance of people seeing it.
Yeah.
They get home from work, they're about to, they're getting ready to watch NXT like they normally do, and then pop on 205 Live first. I think it's
going to be 205 Live then NXT,
then Mae Young Classic.
Okay, so it's 3.
Until-
So
yeah.
that's how they're filling up the 3 hours of programming.
That's pretty smart.
Why?
I think.
Why did they change the timing? What's the?
I think because of Mixed Match Challenge. But which I did watch. I watched Mixed Match Challenge this week. It was pretty much the same as last year.
Yeah.
That's why I forgot to mention that in the last topic. But with Alexa Bliss,
Is it still on
that was
Facebook?
kind of where it came. Yeah, it's still on Facebook. That's why with Alexa Bliss, it got announced that she was injured because she couldn't wrestle with Braun Strowman this week, and
goodness.
Moon ended up taking her spot. They have shirts for all the teams, and they last minute made one for Ember Moon and Braun Strowman, and I kind of want to get it.
It's not a bad name for their team. I actually was like, yo, that's dope.
Did you see the shirt though of
What
just
is
the
it?
two of them? It's like just.
What's the name of the team?
Isn't it like
It's
Monster Eclipse or
Yeah,
something?
it's Monster Eclipse, I believe.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a dope name.
But the shirt is also, by the way, while I'm looking this up, that custom site, the WWE
It's
custom,
great.
It's great.
I love it. I want to make so many.
Me too. It's so good. Eli, if you haven't checked
Wait,
it
what
out,
is it?
It's basically instead of just regular WWE shop where
It's like the newest shirt or whatever.
you can pick what color you want the shirt
Which
to be.
graphic you want.
Oh, wow.
Well, you can't necessarily pick the graphic, but you can change the color of certain
No,
graphics.
there's a bunch of selection of different graphics.
Well, you can't customize a shirt.
No, but there's one that's there's a million ways you can make the NWO section alone.
Which is weird because why would you want a green NWO shirt?
Can you do LWO?
No.
You can't change the logo itself.
No.
Bummer.
But I did get.
God, I wish we had.
Did you get one
LWO
from there?
shirts.
I haven't yet.
You haven't gotten any yet?
No, not
I
yet.
got.
It's really great. It's a really great idea they had.
Just because I hadn't seen it out in the, I hadn't seen it for sale in a long time. I just got the Outsiders shirt, the old school one that's just the white font that says the Outsiders, like a little NWO logo next to it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's tons of shirts on there. They even have the old Wolfpack one. I didn't
There's
know
some
Wolfpack
good long
fan.
sleeves
But
that I'm gonna
Tito?
get
You
ready
got a
for.
Tito Santana shirt?
They might.
Ooh, I'm gonna buy
Maybe.
it tonight.
They have. I think I saw a cool Tito Santana shirt of the neon in the WWE section, WWE shop, not the custom section.
Okay.
I think I saw. This is the shirt I was talking about.
That's really good to know.
for Ember Moon and Braun Strowman though, where it's just them standing side by side.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in a year that's going to be like the what? Why was that
they
a
threw
shirt?
that together real quick.
it's just Braun Strowman and Ember Moon standing
It's
side by
literally
side.
they're both their WWE.com profile pictures.
With the Mixed Match Challenge logo
I
underneath
guarantee
it.
you, if you go to their sections on WWE.com, that's what those pictures are.
That's why I laughed so much when I saw this. I was like dying. Also, I sent it to our group chat, but
Braun Strowman one.
the one in Spanish, I'm still on the fence of getting it.
I would get it.
But it says "get these hands" in Spanish.
I would get that's dope. If there are so many things that like, for instance, I'm not going to say this because it's going to come out so wrong. But I mean, there's so many things that I wish I could. Like, I wish I could have an LWO shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want one, but I can't because I am not Latino.
Yeah.
Wait. So you wouldn't wear an LWO
I
shirt
wouldn't feel
because
right.
you're not Latino?
I would wear it
wouldn't
to a
feel
wrestling
right.
event.
I mean, if I was
Would
a
you
fan
not
of the
wear one? You would.
LWO,
Out to a wrestling event, yeah. Not out in public, no.
Yeah.
Because he'd be like, "What's the Latino world order?"
because
the
out of
colors are
context, that's weird.
Because majorly weird. Plus the colors are the colors of the
Mexican
Mexican
flag.
flag. So it's like Latino world order. People be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, it's the same reason why ever since I was a child.
Yeah, but you walk around wearing ponchos.
You
and
know how much it gutted me when my father explained to 12-year-old Jamie that you can't be Blade for Halloween? No, that's
I like that was a conversation your dad had to have with you.
like, why can't I be Blade?
Were you gonna try and do makeup?
I
and
wanted to be
everything?
Blade's. No, not
Did you
black.
just
I
wanna
wasn't
wear-
going to do blackface.
You were
Ryan.
a child who wanted to do blackface.
I was
you
just
wanted
going to
wear
do the trench
sword,
coat, the
swords.
shades, the haircut, all that. But even then, I was like, nope, you can't be Blade. And that's
like sit you
still
down,
to
like,
this
son.
day, I will watch Blade because I'm a big cosplayer guy. I don't go to cosplaying events, but like Halloween comes around, I go all out, and I've always wanted to do Blade because I know I would do it great. It's just
I think
no,
you could do it. I
No,
think
I'm
you
not
could
going to
do-
do.
I think
No,
you
I'm not
could.
going to do it.
As
I'm not
long
gonna
as
do
you
it.
don't wear blackface,
I would never. In
You
a
should
million
you
years.
should do it and just be like Wade.
Jade.
No, Wade.
Because the J in his name.
No, it's Wade because he's
He's
white.
white
and not
Blade.
black.
You want to be white Blade.
You take off the BL.
Like,
you put on
because I'm a
W,
huge
you're
Blade
Wade.
fan, and
No,
I was
if
when the
you
movie
have the
came
hair,
out.
and you can just wear the glasses and the trench coat and the swords.
I don't agree to that. I don't know. That's a
I feel
slippery
like
slope.
it's only offensive if you wear the
No,
blackface.
I get it because if you're not that same tone, people are gonna be like, "What is this? Like some S&M thing? Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What is this?"
I would.
Go
No,
to
you know what I
Jamie
would
and say,
look.
What are you? And he's like, I'm Blade.
I'm
No,
Wade.
I'd be like,
Wade.
no, you're the bad guy in Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, I'm Wade.
That's what that would look
You
like.
just start doing the robot stuff.
That's what it would look.
Hey, that guy, by the way, was an Avatar. I watched Avatar last night.
He is an avatar.
He's in lots of stuff, that
Yeah,
actor.
good for him.
This Braun Strowman shirt did make me laugh, though, because the description of why it's being sold was so fun. It's because it was just so random to me. So this, for those of you obviously can't see it, but I don't know how to pull up the screen here.
Would be nice.
I got to figure that out. That's what they do.
Well,
for
you should
Collider
start
Live.
tweeting the pictures that we talk about on your on the Instagram.
There's a lot of things I should do, but there's only one man right now, Jamie. I do my best with the clips that I have available, and when I tweet this out, or I didn't tweet this shirt out because I didn't want everyone to know about it because I wanted it to be like one that I get and then talk about it after the fact. But it's too late now. We're too deep in here. But it says it's the Get These Hands shirt. It's the Braun Strowman Get These Hands shirt, but it's in Spanish and it says Toma estas manos. But the description says, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, WWE is releasing versions of your favorite superstar t-shirts featuring their Spanish translation. This shirt will quickly become your favorite tee. But of all people, like, to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with, they made a version of Braun Strowman's shirt?
Yeah.
I
That's
think
a random one.
didn't they do that to all? I thought they
Yeah,
did that
but
to all of them.
in general, kind of like you guys just said, where, like, you wouldn't wear an LWO shirt. Isn't it kind of just like random to be throwing like?
No, it's different. No, it's different.
Like to honor Hispanic Heritage
It's
Month?
different. It's very
not,
different.
It's not like the back of the shirt says "in honor of Hispanic Heritage
No, it's
Month."
like, okay, say if you're a Latin American fan, and I think it would be dope if you had like if you had get a Spanish get these hands or whatever the Spanish translation for who's next Goldberg shirt like guess next.
I kind of like the Spanish Bailey one for it just says soy un hugger.
I love that one.
I
loved that one.
I kind of like that one. Okay,
I loved that one.
I think it's okay. You know, one time when I was on a Carnival cruise, I saw a dude wearing a shirt that said "#1 Lithuanian Dad," and I'd probably wear that shirt.
You're telling me that a Sasha Banks shirt, it says El Jefe, but in the Sasha Banks logo, like font, like the boss font, that would be dope.
Yeah,
that'd be a sick shirt.
All right, fine.
So get it and wear it next week.
The New World Order, the Nueva Mundo, whatever order is in
Nuevo
Spanish.
Mundo.
Okay, fine. I'll buy it, guys, just for all of you.
Austin 360. Wait,
That's the same shirt. They should make one. They should. It's the Spanish version.
Yeah. I don't think "60" is the right thing.
They add like on Austin. They had that little like on the eye, like a weird like the thing, the whatever that is.
It's just the Inye.
Yeah, the Inye. That's how it's Spanish.
They just put like upside down exclamation point and a regular exclamation point on both sides of it.
That's how it's Spanish.
Like, damn, this is authentic.
All right, before we're done here, I asked for questions on Twitter. I'm starting to like doing this little fun random stuff that gets thrown at us. I like this one. This was from @Queen Sata. I think that's how you said it. SATTA.
Yes, the Queen.
And she asks, which defunct pay-per-views do you guys think should come back? Is there anyone that sticks out to you guys that comes to mind instantly? Which defunct pay-per-views?
I do think that some of the WCW ones, I would say Halloween Havoc would probably be at the top of the list just because there's not really a Halloween pay-per-view. There's Halloween episodes and they're usually pretty bad. But I think if Halloween event could be more an event in the world of WWE, I do think that there's a lot of fun that they could play with that. And I think that they could go not just because Halloween and so often these holidays are so jokey whenever they do it, like, oh, it's gonna end up in a food fight or a candy fight or an eggnog fight or whatever the holiday is. So I do think that it opens the door if you did have a Halloween pay-per-view for there to be some of like the menacing or the terrifying edge of Halloween in there.
Yeah, I mean, well, they've kind of converted that into Hell in a Cell, more or less.
Yeah, but it's not like a straight up Halloween
No,
event.
it's not.
And honestly, I think Halloween Havoc as a pay-per-view would serve a better purpose than Hell in a Cell does. Hell in a Cell has started to ruin the allure of Hell in a Cell, the match itself, that it's like the end of a giant, like this is like the oh shit when you drop out of Hell in a Cell. Now it's just kind of like it's a thing we do every year. So I would much rather have that giant pumpkin in a 2018 look.
My choice is Cyber Tuesday or Sunday.
Cyber Sunday, Taboo Tuesday,
whatever the fuck. I liked those, even though a lot of them probably weren't authentic in their voting.
I believe that from what I've heard, I believe on like Something to Wrestle With, I'm pretty sure they say it was. It's just they tried their best to stack it a certain way, you know? Because at the end of those, it did start to be a little ridiculous where you were like, well, obviously you're going to pick that one. Like, no one's going to pick those other two.
In its inception, like with the one with the CM Punk poster where he's holding the phone, and it's a bunch of people looking at it, like the initial Cyber Sunday, or I
think that was Cyber Sunday was because it was Taboo Tuesday for 2 to 3 years, I believe. I went to Taboo Tuesday in 2005.
Well, that one with CM Punk on the cover was one of my favorite events because it was almost like the Royal Rumble in the sense that you were excited about, okay, what's it going to be? But you got that every single match.
No, I'm with you. I agree. The early years of Taboo Tuesday and Cyber Sunday, I liked that. It was definitely more entertaining.
Like, for instance,
I just like in the later years, every time they did that, they really started to like you'd be like, oh, is it going to be Santino?
Well, one of my favorite things they ever did was Carlito versus the universe voted which face of Foley he was going to face.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorite things. That was dope because they also had that thing where Mick did a promo in Cactus Jack and then he morphed. Like, they did the...
He wrestled Carlito, I think, that year. Okay?
Yeah,
that's what I said.
Oh, sorry. I just...
Yeah.
Now,
where was I?
I agree with you 100%. That was a good one too. The only other one I'd say that I think we left out because those are the two I was thinking right off the bat is King of the Ring, but I would do it as for the women this time and Queen of the Ring.
Honestly,
I think that we've had such a long history of King of the Rings that it would be nice to let the women have a chance this time and give them, even if it's its own event. I would like that.
I know that we often
the women's pay-per-view.
We don't
year.
like whenever there's a gimmick attached to events and everything, but I actually really looked forward to Elimination Chamber. I feel like because they do Hell in the Cell at times that are not Hell in the Cell, and an Elimination Chamber is such an elaborate setup comparatively. I don't think that they do it anymore, do they? I could be wrong.
Didn't it recently come back?
Was it
last
called
year?
I just recall they used that a lot of times in February as like the final build up pay-per-view.
It did come back last year. Now that I think this year, it was this year, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, in February.
Yeah, Braun was.
But
yeah.
it had been gone prior to that, I think.
No, it came back it came back in 2015 or 16 because
2015
I remember
they did
because I remember I was there and
that's
we
when
found out we had to work an extra day.
They did the tag team elimination chamber match was at the 2015 one.
Okay,
I remember because that was right before I went to China.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, Elimination Chamber is still around, but I would also like if they picked one or the other, Elimination Chamber or
Agreed.
Hell in a Cell.
Agreed.
It's too much. Even though
I would
even
prefer,
though there's multiple men in the match.
I would prefer Elimination Chamber as a steady pay-per-view than Hell in a Cell because I feel like Hell in a Cell is like more of a blow-off match, whereas Elimination Chamber seems to be more of like just more planning has to go into it.
It makes sense. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. All right, last question here before we wrap up. I thought this was a fun one. This was from @Flex440 who asked, where do you guys see the roles of managers continuing to go, especially considering how heavily WWE has been leaning into using them lately, and especially seeing Jamie's current dealings? For those of you who don't know, Jamie made his debut at Championship Wrestling Hollywood recently. He's got his own client now. Is it client? Is that the term that we're using?
He's the first. He's the first of my my whole plan, my whole motif of trying to change wrestling for the better. In my opinion, the whole concept of making it in the bingo halls as a sign of badge of honor is kind of become complacent. And I kind of channel into the whole Drew McIntyre way of thinking that the whole wrestling, the whole wrestling world as a whole has been handed a participation trophy.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I'm going to change that. Me and Royce are going to start a whole movement in the world of professional wrestling where mediocrity and complacency is gone. And, Drew McIntyre's a smart guy. I subscribe to that newsletter. But yes, that's where
I think that it has a lot of upward mobility. I mean, just like if you look at the crowd and the way that they chant along with anybody in particular, there's not many people that they chant along with more than Paul Heyman, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And Heyman obviously is one of the greatest, if not, could potentially the greatest of all time in a lot of ways. I know that might sound like sacrilege. I love Bobby the Brain Heenan. I was raised on Bobby the Brain Heenan, so I mean no disrespect to Heenan at all. But I think that we have reached in this era to where it's not just, and if you look at a lot of the people that they're calling Leo Rush, for instance, the dude can go in the ring, so who's to say that he can't still be a wrestler and a manager? Again, if we're having these disparate universes, where we have the universe of 205 Live over here, and it's not really commingling as much, with the standard universe of the WWE, then why not? Why not let him be a wrestler and be a dominant person? It's only going to shine up more of a light onto his other dealings outside of kind of more of the main spotlight of the main roster.
It's just, to me, you get more stars when you do that. And of course, I currently am one, so of course I'm going to be a little biased, but I just think that, you add more, you get tired of the play. When you're watching a play about knights and dragons and stuff like that, when it's just the knights and the dragons, you get a little tired of it. Yeah. You need the kings, you need the jesters, you need you need
supporting characters.
You do need supporting characters. And Paul Heyman never was never was the main focus. Ever. He was, if anything, he was a glorified narrator.
Yeah.
He was the guy in plays, in Shakespearean plays, that had those, would stand off on the side of the stage and narrate what was happening. That's what he was great at. Yeah. And I think not all of them, but a lot of stories and a lot of intricately laid out plans could use a narrator, a voice.
Agreed. Agreed.
That's not directly, even though they have a horse in the race, but they're not in the match.
At the end of the day, why shouldn't they have Leo Rush speaking for Bobby Lashley, who can't speak powerfully for himself?
Speak for Bobby Lashley. Jesus Christ.
Just when you look at that, it's like when you look at Brock Lesnar when he first came back to the WWE in 2012 or whatever year it was kind of lackluster at first because he didn't have somebody to speak for him. And the second that he had Paul Heyman around, it was like, oh, well, now it's time for business.
He was losing. I mean, like he won his first match, but then he lost to Triple H. You know, like
to answer Flex a little bit on my end.
That was answering the question.
No, I am. I said from my perspective, I agree everything what you guys are gonna what you guys just said. I fear though that Vince will get over it in the next month and a half.
Yes, because
he's been so anti-manager forever that like I have a hard time believing this like giant influx is going to be like a change.
I don't think you need to think about it like a giant influx. You need to think about it like a trickle effect. Not even a trickle effect, just a couple. You just need a light pitter patter of managers right there. It's not like you had 20 Paul Heymans. You had one Paul Heyman. So let's say Leo Rush. If he can make it happen, so be it. If we get one or two more, that's fine. That's just as many managers as you need because you don't need every single person to have a hype man.
Like if the whole 205 roster is just going to be managers on Monday nights, then that's going to be absurd.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do agree with you guys in that regard. And I love the influx of managers. Like, I think Zelina Vega's great. I think, and I like that, you know, with Authors of Pain, with Leo Rush and Zelina, they're almost being, you know, they're being positioned in a different light as managers used to be, where most managers aren't also wrestlers.
I'm still
but
waiting.
They're having Zelina wrestle. They're having Leo get used as a human dart. Drake is the only one who isn't really someone who
he hasn't really wrestled at all.
He hasn't wrestled since he came back or since he signed with WWE. So he's the one who's a little bit different. But we also know he can go if need be. So I'm interested to see where they go.
I'm
with
still
all
waiting
this.
to hear the whole reasoning behind the Drake Maverick and Authors of Pain merger because they still haven't really said why.
Yeah, it was more just like, they said
I'm an author also.
They just said like Drake Maverick can spot talent when he sees it, but it's like they haven't really explained why the authors suddenly want a manager when they
got rid of their other one the first
really
day.
Successful manager on their first day, and it's different. Got to do things differently this time.
We made a bad call.
No, we're gonna get this. We didn't like our first, but we're gonna get this extremely well groomed manager.
We needed a shorter, well groomed manager who likes to wear the same outfits as us.
We needed a manager with hair.
All right, Eli, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at Brindlebeard and on Twitter at Elijah Bates.
And Jamie, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at JAMIEIOVINE or on Twitter at JAMIE_IOVINE. Or if you want to book my client, you could look for Royce Isaacs at ROYCEISAACS.
New plug. I like it.
Get my boy some work.
I thought that's funny. I thought Jamie was about to plug the network right there. I saw him like pulling it up.
I've done it a million times, but I mean, it's I can't. I mean,
you still can't say when? No.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know if I can say because because we're so close to it. It's.
Have you guys not said?
It's within weeks.
Oh, there we go.
It's
all right.
within weeks.
All right. I look forward to that very much. So.
Yeah, we're talking days.
All right. Well, I'm excited to hear that. I didn't even know that. So there's some news for you guys as well. You can find me on social media. I'm at Ryan Satin. The website ProWrestlingSheet.com. It's at Wrestling Sheet on all social media as well. If you're watching the video, go check out the audio feed. There's other shows on there as well. It's on Podcast One, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. It's Wrestling Sheet Radio, but there's also Top 5 with James and Kevin. They recently changed the format up again. But I like the format change a little better now. Instead of talking about the top 5 things that happened on Raw and SmackDown every week like they've been doing, now they're just kind of doing more broad lists. This week it was the top 5 managers of 2018. So they got into the manager discussion that we've been having. They're going to be doing more lists like that. I think that they felt like with the other show that's on the feed, Best of the Rest, that covers all things not Raw and SmackDown, and me doing the recaps with Roca. They felt like it was kind of like too much Raw and SmackDown talk, too much NXT. There's already Raw and SmackDown talk. There's already NXT and Impact talks. They decided to kind of switch things up a little bit with more broad lists. They're going to try and make it a little more fun, to be a little more interactive and all that kind of stuff. So look for those on the Wrestling Sheet radio feed. Best of the Rest as well. Best of the Rest will have a new episode that comes out on Saturday with Aaron Turner, Rachel Sam Evans. Rachel, who recently interviewed Big E. You can check out the interview with Big E on the website right now. It's actually a really funny interview where they talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. Also, if you're listening to the audio of this, go check out our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. We're always putting new content up there. You can see this show itself on video. You can see the recap shows on video. You can see some different news hits, lists, all that kind of fun stuff that's available there. Okay, that's it. I'm done. We're done. Officially tapping out for now. Until next time, stay out of the dirt and keep your eye on the sheet.